Hi everyone, it's Nicole here today for the Simon Says Stamp Hop to It release blog hop, and today I have a card featuring quite a few new products from the Hop to It release. To start, I stamped the cute little girl here and her hat from the new Abby's Spring Showers stamp set on some smooth white cardstock, and then I'm going to color her in with Copic markers. And I'm using about 3 shades here for her skin, E00, E11, and E13, and then a little R20 for the cheeks. These are pretty standard colors that I use a lot for skin tone. I love the long legs on this image. I think it's so cute. And it's also fun that there are quite a few little elements in this stamp set that you can mix and match. So I used the hat here to adorn this little girl, and I used the bunny, but there's also a cute little bear. You don't have to use the hat. There's an umbrella, just all kinds of really fun things. I'm also using about 3 shades here for her hair. I started with my lightest color and then feathered in the mid-tone color, and then I'm feathering in my darkest shading color. I wanted her hair to be kind of a blondish color. Went back in with my mid-tone color, and I even went back a little bit later and added a little bit more highlight and things with my darkest color again. I'm coloring in her jacket. I wanted her to have a little yellow rain jacket. I'm starting with my lightest, which is my lightest color, which is Y11, and then I have Y15 and Y18 as well. And I'm just building up the color, adding shading here and there. I went over her rain jacket quite a few times to get it just the way I wanted it to look and get all the shading just right. I wanted her pockets to have just a little bit more detail than the rest of the jacket, just for fun, so I added a little bit darker color there to the top of the pockets, and then I ended up going in with my marker and just drawing kind of some little crosshatch lines, really kind of sloppy, but I love how it looks on the finished card. Again, blending out my colors. There's those little lines. Next, I'm going to skip on down here and do her little skirt peeking out from underneath the jacket. I wanted to have a pop of color since she's got blonde hair and the light skin and the yellow coat. I thought she really needed color somewhere on the image, so I colored her little skirt there red, added some black buckles, dark gray or black buckles there to her jacket, and then I'm coloring in little black rain boots. I started with a lighter color and then used a darker color. I ended up only using about 2 colors for these rain boots. Added my shading with a darker color and then really blended it out with that lighter cool gray marker. And then took my colorless blender and added some little scuff or highlight marks to the toes of her boots. And then to finish out adding a pop of color to her outfit, I made her little socks red as well. About only 2 colors here for the red areas, R27 and R39. And here I went back in with the hair. I felt like it just needed a little bit more highlight, even though a lot of it ends up getting covered up with her hat. Added some Wink of Stella gold glitter pin buckles to her boots, and then a little clear Wink of Stella over the black buckles on her jacket. I went ahead and took a black gel pen and added definition to her eyes and a white gel pen for some little dots there on her cheeks for the freckles there. And then I stamped the hat from the stamp set. This is one of those accessory pieces from the stamp set that I was talking about. And I'm going to color in her hat with the same yellows I used for the jacket. Kind of have a coordinating little design here. And then I will color in the flower with reds and greens to tie into her little skirt and socks. And I just went over the hat until, again, I got the shading just the way I wanted it. Blend all that out with my lightest color. And here's that red. Again, I'm using the exact same reds I used for her outfit, which are R27 and R39. For the leaves, I'm going to use YG25 and YG17. These are pretty standard green colors that I like to use for greenery, whether it be grass or flower stems or leaves. Blend that out a little bit. I even took a little gray and darkened up a couple of areas for shadowing. And once I have all of these colored in, I went ahead and die cut these with the coordinating Simon Says Stamp Spring Showers die cuts. Oh, I added a little clear wink of Stella to the flower as well. Now, there are quite a few dies in the Spring Showers collection, and I find it's really easy or easiest to take the Elizabeth Craft Snips scissors that are made for cutting apart your dies and cut them apart. It really makes it so much easier than trying to cut them with anything else. So there is the cute little girl and her hat. And I'm ready to stamp a few more accessory pieces and die cut some as well. I'm using some of the Simon Says Stamp stitched rectangles here to create a frame. I am die cutting this from some of the Simon Says Stamp Ivory cardstock. I'm using both the largest and the second largest frames. And the great thing about the Simon Says Stamp frames is that there is stitching lines on either side of the die line. So it leaves you with a stitched line on both sides, which I think is fabulous. I absolutely love that. I'm going to use the smaller of the two stitched frames that I just used and die cut some green apple cardstock and some surf blue cardstock. And this is going to be the background of my card. The ivory cardstock will be the frame, and then this will be the inside piece where I will attach all of the stamped and die cut elements. Now I'm going to take that apple green cardstock and use one of these stitched slopes and hills dies from Simon Says Stamp and die cut a little landscape piece. This set has both the solid die cut, and then it has a stitched die cut. So if you don't want the stitching line, you wouldn't have to use it. You could just leave it as is. Where I have the stitching on all the other pieces, I wanted to have that stitch line. So I die cut it first, and then I used the stitched piece and laid it right along the top there and added the stitching along the top of my landscape die cut. I'm going to use the new Raindrops stencil and some white embossing paste, and just take a palette knife and place that right on that surf blue die cut rectangle. This doesn't take very long to dry. 10 or 15 minutes is about all it takes. You do want to do any die cutting first before you do the embossing paste, otherwise it will flatten out. And then I'm going to set that aside to dry while I work on the rest of the card. I stamped the little rain puddle from the Abby's Spring Shower stamp set with some Sea Glass Simon Says Stamp ink. And then I stamped the bunny, and I'm going to color it in with some gray markers. I used a little bit of R20 for the cheeks, but I'm using cool grays for the rest of the bunny design. And I had a hard time deciding what colors I wanted to do for the bunny. I started with the gray, and then I wasn't sure if I wanted to do gray, and so I tried blue and even another one, I think, and I ended up deciding that I liked the gray one the best, so I came back to this one, and this is the one I chose to use, and I ended up really, really liking it. So here I'm finishing coloring this one, blending it out just a little bit more. Make sure I get it exactly the way I want it to look before I die cut it with the coordinating Spring Showers die. Now once it's die cut, I am going to use that black and white, or those black and white gel pens again, and add definition to the eyes, the nose, and then add some little white dots to the tummy area of the rabbit. And this is about all of the elements now that I need for my card. So I'm ready to start putting the whole thing together. Finish adding those little white dots. I'm going to go ahead and use an ivory card base for my card here today. The embossing paste has dried, so I'll attach the landscape there, and the rain puddle, and then the girl and her hat and the bunny. And I stamped the phrase "Rain, Rain, Go Away" with the Simon Says stamp black ink, and then the word "hugs" from the hand-lettered encouragement stamp set using the Audrey blue ink. And I love that it fits right there in between the embossing paste raindrops. I added some foam tape to the edge or the back of my ivory die cut frame, and I'll place that right on my card, and my card is all finished. I hope you've enjoyed this video showcasing lots of new products from the brand new Simon Says stamp Hop to It release. The supplies I've used are listed and linked below the video on YouTube. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.